and today we're going to present to you guys Squad 42. Previously on Squad 42, it is a third-person game with stealth elements where you are a soldier from the Federation and you're carrying the duties of the Federation and bringing the Federation to its best. The combat is squad-based. You utilize your squad mates to actually bring out to the fight and try to defeat the enemies. There's spaceships, chases, and there's betrayals in the game.
Okay, so we start off with playing as Huey. Now Huey is an orphan who lost his parents in an attack on his village when he was really young. We start off the game as Huey is saved by the resistance during that attack, and he grows up within the Federation, and they provide food and shelter, but they're only catches that you have to enlist and you have to serve. So as he's doing this, he is training. So to graduate from the school, he has to learn how to do basic combat. So this is what the player is going to start playing and learning the basic mechanics of the game. At this point, he graduates and gets assigned to his first squad. This is like a family, his first kind of being adopted as a family for him. Tara is his squad leader. They start going on missions. He is going to be introduced to each of the different squad mates as they go on missions, and each of them specialize in a unique gameplay element that they're going to teach them. So for example, Hex specializes in heavy ammunitions. Tino specializes in hacking. Farron specializes in marksmanship, and then your squad leader Tara specializes in more stealth gameplay. And as you do this, you're going to go on different missions with your team. Next, you start going on a mission, your first real mission, where you get to act a little more independently. And in this mission, you actually feel like you're going to make a difference. You are a village is under attack. This feels relevant to what happened to you as a kid. And during this mission, though, you notice that your squad leader is talking to this suspicious figure, and you notice that she has bright blonde gold hair, and that she's an alien. And in the Federation, they are very anti-alien. You can be brought up this way that they're not to be trusted, and that this is something that just isn't right. So after this, you find out that Tara from the Federation, that she has betrayed them and that she is being hunted down. So you go and you find her, and when you're talking to her and you're trying to find out the truth, she ends up taking her own life right in front of you. At this point, then you become the new squad leader, and this is when you find out the truth. As you investigate into her death, you find out the truth about the Federation, and this is when you and your squad mates defect. And this is where you find out that Orem, the lady that's, or the alien that had the gold hair that Tara was talking to, was actually helping the resistance of aliens fight against the Federation, and then you, in finding this information, join their cause.
So yeah, and when you get to the planet, to the alien planet, to the alien base, it's a planet that you've never been to. There's a planet that is actually not in the database of the Federation. It actually says in the database that it's actually like a black hole, so that the Federation actually never goes there. And while they're there, and Orem is explaining what they're doing and showing the city and like how they actually work and that they are not bad, they get called and saying like Federation is gonna attack one planet. So Orem goes up and tells S2 like, join us, like help us bring the best, like help us save the civilians. So they go and they actually help the resistance to save as many lives as possible as they can. And this is actually the level that we're going to break it down. And after that mission, Farron's a bit shocked because he's like, he doesn't know anymore what to do. He's like, I've been always a Federation soldier, like I've been brought up to actually like hate aliens, and right now I'm helping aliens, like it goes against like everything that he believes. And Farron confronts Huey, and after they confront, Neil tries to escape, and Tino grabs him and tries to calm Farron down and says like, calm down, like everything's gonna be alright, like everything's good. And that's the moment like when Farron actually shoots Tino to actually escape. And you chase Farron through space and board his spaceship, and you fight against him. And you're almost at the verge of actually killing him, like there's a gun right at your reach, but the moment you actually put it in his head, you cannot pull it trigger. It's like it's your friend, it's your best friend, it's like from your childhood. You cannot do it, and he takes that opportunity to actually like flip and actually like hurt you. So Huey so badly that he cannot fight. So Aurum retreats with Huey to the planet. When they get to the planet again, they actually have they learn new tricks to actually fight against the Federation in the final battle. So they take the battle to Earth, where the Federation actually has their base, and they're like, we have to stop Farron. We cannot share the information where the alien base is. So they have a final battle against Farron. And in that final battle, you have the chance again to take him down, and Farron turns to you and says, you gotta do it, because I'm gonna give the information. And you, without any choice, you take him out. It's only you and Hex and Aurum left. And you guys are all hurt, all tired of the battle. You're trying to go back, and Supreme Leader shows up. And he has all his army, and like everything's like going badly, and you don't know what to do. But then the Resistance actually shows up and saves the day. Like it makes the Supreme Leader actually like backs out, and yeah, that's a huge win for the Resistance. So, as I said, we're going to break down the rescue mission, and it all happens in Jakar, a planet, and it happens in the city, and this is like the version where the map is really pretty.
Okay, so just to give a breakdown of where our squad currently is, this is about 2/3 of the way through our story. So you're with your squad, that's Huey, Hex, Tino, and Farron. Your status is, at this point, you have defected from the Federation, and you are currently helping Aurum with the Resistance to help protect those in need and those who don't have protection. So as for the equipment and gear that you currently have, you are currently in your Federation issue gear, and armor, as well as your ammunition, and as well as a stolen Federation spaceship. Okay, so the first part of this mission is arriving on the planet. You receive a distress signal, and for this planet Jakar, Jakar is outer rim planet. It's mostly agriculture based, and it's allegiance to the Federation. Now, when you arrive on the planet, you have a GPS for the coordinates, so you start looking to see, you're expecting like a battle, big battle, and there's just nothing. It's just deserted everywhere. And it's just something that just doesn't feel right. So during this mission, you're going to be following the waypoint and exploring the area and trying to find out what is going on. So as you can see, we start here on the first part of the mission as you arrive. Next, helping hand. So this is where you learn that the distress call was actually this incoming attack, and everyone is working to evacuate the civilians to safe areas. So this is when you run into the Arzarks here. So they are a race of lizard-looking folk. They are loyal creatures, and they are very known to be anti-Federation. Now, when you run into them, this is very unexpected. You do not expect to run into them on this planet, and they ask you though to help. Can you help us gather the civilians? And you decide to. You have a choice. So the first player choice comes in. You can choose either go help round up some of the adults or go find some of the children. So this is one first player choice. And there you go. This is where you meet them.
So yeah, and when you're searching the buildings, you're trying to get the civilians, and the civilians sometimes they're like reluctant, but you say like, no, like there's an attack coming, like we're here to protect you, like come and like we're gonna protect you, like we're the resistance, we'll help you. And depending on the choice from the player, he's gonna be gathering more children or more adults, and that's gonna change where the drop site is gonna be. And while they're doing this, they actually see like someone actually like running away from them and like screaming like, you're not here to protect us, like you're like here to actually like kill us or something. And there's a chase scene, like a chase sequence, like where you have to fight, to run and try to get the human. And this part of the gameplay, like you're chasing him down, and there's a lot of the player mobility to catch a civilian. There's a lot of parkour and a lot of jumps where the player are trying to close the gap. Yep. So yeah, they start here and they go all the way to the here. So After you catch him, and depending on the choice again, if you decide to be a kid, it's going to be a kid running. If it is an adult, it's going to be an adult running. And you go to the drop site, and when you go there, like depending on your choice again, the results would be different. So if you have an adult, a kid from afar is gonna say like, "Daddy, Daddy!" Like it's gonna run towards the dad, and you as like Huey, the hero, is like, "Whew!" Like they've made up. And Ozark actually pulls a gun and shoots the dad in the head at the moment. And depending if you actually chose the kid is gonna see his dad from afar, and Ozark is gonna pull a gun while the kid is watching and shoot him down as well. And at that moment, like you actually don't know what is going on. Like you were like confused. Like Ozark is like, alien, like aliens are against Federation. Why are you killing humans? Like, does not make sense. And Huey grabs the kid and like protects the kid. So this part of the gameplay is mixed with combat and also trying to protect the VIP in this case. That would be the kid. So yeah. So everything happens here and you go up.
Okay, so at this point you're with the kid and you're on the run. You feel like there are a lot of the Ozarks are coming and trying to hunt you down. You feel very cornered and afraid. At this point, the gameplay is you find a corner where you have to kind of hold up and just hope that you can survive this fight. This is when your squad comes and saves the day for you, and they help you eliminate the Ozarks, and they save you and the kid. But you notice after the battle, you go and you examine one of the bodies, and something just doesn't seem right. So, as you examine one of the bodies, you notice that it doesn't look like an Ozark at all. And then upon further investigation, you see that it was actually a Federation troop. And they saw that it has a holographic camouflage device that had been damaged. And you see that this has actually been them in disguise the whole time. And that you had, technically the twist is that also you had been doing their job for them. You had been bringing the civilians together and rounding them up for them. So that happens at the top there. Then we move on to the search and rescue. So now you know what's going on. You and your squad devise a plan. We got to rescue the civilians and prevent the Federation from taking them and killing them and capturing them. So this is where you split into your groups. So Tino and Hex go together, and Huey and Farron. And this is where you're going to bring the civilians to safety. So you're going to group up. You're going to try and find them and battle your way through, and then take them to safety. And that happens up there.
Yeah, and while you're doing this and you're like getting all the civilians, like a couple of parents, they come like really concerned to you and say like, please, please try to help me find my kid. I cannot find my kid. So Huey and Farron, they're like, yeah, we'll totally find your kid. Like, where was the last time you saw them? And like, it was at the park. Like, they were at the park with the drop side of the main, like all the kids were. So Huey and Farron, they actually go and help. The main part of the gameplay is going to be a lot of gunfight to get to the place. And the troops are going to be in the way, and you have to reach the kids on time. Yeah, it's going to be here. Now, beat 8, you actually play as one of the kids. You actually play as one of the kids running away from the soldiers, trying to break through, like trying to get away and find his dad. So basically all the time you're like screaming for your dad, screaming for your mom, trying to find your parents. And they're like trying to get where Huey was, and Huey is. And all the gameplay is basically run and hide, so it's a lot of hide and seek, so that he gets away from the Federation troops. And when he's almost reaching where Huey is, a huge explosion happens. So yeah, from the park
Okay, so in this scene, the gameplay is going to be intercut for the player between playing as Huey trying to get to the player and save them, as well as you playing as the kid. So as the player, it is that feeling as you're both going towards the same goal. The kid is trying to get closer to you, and when you're playing as him, and then Huey, you're feeling you're almost about to save the kid. And right at the end, there's an explosion, and that's when you realize that, this actually isn't happening in the present. This is actually a flashback of when Huey was a kid and when his parents were killed in an attack on his village. And this is when he realizes that this is the same event that happened to him a long time ago. So we at this point, the gameplay switches to Huey's perspective, and the kid isn't there. They see that this is when he comes out realization, but they still have a ways to go to figure this out. So we're going to play a cinematic here to show the revelation of that. So you're right there at that point. Next, interrogation. So the kid wasn't where the parents had told him they were. So at this point, you find a Federation troop and you interrogate them. Now, the gameplay for this is going to be a combination of quick time events as well as some choices of what you want to do for the interrogation. The other interesting thing about this is, as Farron is doing the interrogation, you notice that he just isn't quite comfortable with some of the stuff he's doing. Remember that he used to be a Federation soldier, and this is like the first kind of glimpse that something is starting to bother him. That happens over there as we're closing in at the end of the level.
Yeah, so after their interrogation, you know that they're taking them to the airport, so they're putting them in ships. So you and Farron like, let's go guns blazing, we're gonna tip these kids, like, we're gonna go there. So they fight through their way, and the main gameplay part is like, they're going there, like they're breaking through, they're like trying to get there. But they actually realize there are too many. So they actually run. And they start to think about another plan, because they're like, there is no way they can get through the Federation soldiers the way they're doing it right now. So yeah. There you go. So they come up with a plan, like, let's sneak in, like, let's try to find a new way to get around the fences of the airport and save those kids. So they go under, like, down the path to actually find like a hole in the fence, so they actually can get through and like save the kids. But there's Federation soldiers all over the place, so they have to use a lot of stealth. So that's when the stealth that Terra taught you at the beginning of the game is going to come out in handy. So it's a lot of stealth, like a lot of stuff. Stealth kills, and if you shoot, there's going to be more difficult for the player. So that's the main gameplay. So yeah.
Okay, so now that you're on the ship and you see the prison kids that are all behind bars, you have to figure out a way to open the door. So this is when you're going to use the stuff that Tino had taught you about hacking into the computer system. And this is when you find out something a little interesting on the computer. Another gap. You find out that, in fact, there was just kids on this ship, and that all of the adults and everything, they were actually going to be executed. And that since this place was, this village was very anti-Federation, what they do is, you find out that the plan is they actually go into the village, they pretend that it is an attack on the village with aliens or unknown creatures, and then the Federation comes in and saves the day. And in doing so, they get to eliminate all of the adults who are against the Federation, and then enlist all the children in their forces, and they see the Federation as their saviors, and then they get to boost their ranks. And this is a big revelation for Huey and his team. The gameplay for this portion is you're going to be defending this point as you're trying to get the information, and as the waves of enemies are coming at you. Almost at the end.
So yeah, you go, and when you learn the information, you go like save those kids. So you try to break them free, like from the points that you have access, and you gotta escort them out. You gotta protect them. So the gameplay here is a lot like you gotta free them, like, and fight your way through to get to the place. And when you get there, you gotta protect them until they are out of harm. And one ship is actually about to leave. And Huey is actually like a bad shot, like he's not the best marksman, but like Farron's an amazing sniper. So he's like, Farron, you're the one, you go do it. And Farron goes, but while Farron's like positioning himself, like about to take the shot, Huey's in the comms and like, take the shot, you got this, you're like the best man. And Farron actually doesn't take the shot. And the ship leaves. So yeah, what happens in this top part? And that brings us to the grand finale of the map, of the mission, and is the retreat of the Federation. And when the Federation leaves and sees that they cannot win, they like, the resistance got here first, they're like, they're stronger here. And the squad is reunited, Tino comes, and Hax comes, so like they're all reunited, and Farron is missing. And while that's happening, the families are getting reunited and like a lot of commotion, but some families actually don't get their kids because their kids were in the other ship. So there's a lot of emotions going around, and Huey actually searched for Farron as the one last, like, to know what happened, to see if he's okay, like if there was like a problem with the gun or something. So a lot of the cinematic, there will be a lot of cinematics at the gameplay, like a lot of families crying of happiness, but crying of like sadness. And one of the gameplays is like searching for Farron, where you actually like have to track him down, like try to find where he was. And there will be a final dialogue between Huey and Farron, where Farron actually hears Huey coming and he's like, I'm sorry, I could not do it. I could not shoot another Federation soldier. And that's how we went Mission 8. Right. So thank you.